that we've already collected. Our initial goal is to raise, as you all know, $50,000. Some of you are still on my list of people to follow up with and talk to you about what you would want to contribute. I know that Greg Palmer is going to be attending the district conference. And then there was someone that was interested in attending, what's the fella's name down in Maysville? John Hutchings? Yeah. So John Hutchings, anybody in here know John Hutchings? A couple of you? Okay. John is going to be attending Rotary International in Houston. And both Greg and John are going to be walking around at these different events looking for friends of John Sawyers that have cash falling out of their pockets and say, hey, I've got a good use for that. But I just wanted to let you know, it's again, the whole idea here is to create an ongoing source of funds in order to create a good legacy for our friend John Sawyers, who was engaged in our Rotary Club for not nearly long enough. And this is a way that we can honor him. If you're interested in making a pledge or a commitment, feel free to see me or Jim Ferguson. And just want to let you know we're well on our way towards our $50,000. Thank you all.
I thought I'd give you a little update on New Day Ranch. We've supported them over the years, and many of you know Beth Long, and I thought I'd just give you a little update, and how I got involved with New Day Ranch was Rotary. I met Beth. She was a member here when she first moved to this area. She was the first director of the YMCA, the RC Durr YMCA, and she got to know RC, and RC gifted her a horse. And through that, she just felt called to get involved in this equine therapy, where you use the horse to help kids, mainly kids is what she deals with. And she quit a good paying job to start this 501c, New Day Ranch. And she kind of struggled, had to move to a couple of different places, but she's found a really good home. Tony Schmidt bought this property in Verona and has done a marvelous job of fixing it up. And so her programs at New Day is with a lot with Boone County schools. They have a program, predominantly middle school kids, with Rise Academy, which is the alternative school, and with R.A. Jones, and recently with Children's Hospital. Children's has a residential program, which is separate from the hospital, where kids who are just the worst situation you can imagine. And they bring them there on a one-on-one. They usually bring only 2 kids at a time. And they just connect with these horses. It's kind of interesting to watch and see how and it's a setting. I think it's a farm setting too. It's just it's not a classroom setting. So they just connect with the kids. So anyway, I've gotten involved and enjoyed it. And I kind of got involved because of Rotary. Without that connection, I would never have really gotten involved. So that's my.
Well, we talked about the shoot last week, so I might as well talk about the shoot this week. First of all, I'd like to thank all the sponsors that are in this room that have committed so far for this year's shoot. And if you committed to the shoot as a sponsor last year and haven't committed yet, we would love to have you back in the fold. Right now we have 10 sponsors, and one of the sponsor is Eb Wilkinson, and he has doubled his sponsorship, so he's putting in $1,000. He's also putting in $500 for matching funds for a fellowship. So Ed last year did $500 plus $500 to help a Paul Harris Fellow become a Paul Harris Fellow. This year he's doubling up and another $500 for the scholarship. So we thank Ed and the Wilkinson family for all they do. And once again, the shoot is in honor of Dick Wilkinson, our good friend who has left us, but we carry his memory through with the shoot. Great guy. So if you haven't asked someone for their support in or outside of the club, the worst thing they can say is no, and they might say yes. Our goal is to raise as much money as we possibly can to support the foundation. Last year we raised $7,800, and this year we're trying to improve on that. So with your all's help, we can do it.
What day is it?
June 18th, 10 o'clock. And we'll continue to talk about it until then.
His son, he is a retired Air Force officer. Oh, excuse me? Not Air Force, excuse me. Son's here. Ed has an advantage when we're shooting because after blasting away tanks and all those big artillery shells, he can't hear. So he doesn't need hearing protection. He just and he's won what 2 in the last 3 years, I think. The trouble with that is that when we started this on my farm, I don't know, 10 years ago, we had some fellow show up with pink shotgun shells. They were on sale. We started giving out the award for the least amount of plays hit. I think he won it for one play that absolutely. So the level of competition's gone up, but this is not anything like a sanctioned shoot. We're just all out there having fun. So if you've never done a clay pitch, you've never shot a shotgun, come out. We got plenty of guns. We got 2 or 3 of us that are pretty good at teaching how to shoot them. And his father-in-law, when you brought your father-in-law that year, he gave everybody a class. It was wonderful. But it's a lot of fun. There's no pressure. And we'll raise some money for our foundations, which is really the only way we put money in our foundation. Most of what we do is raised for a cause, for a fantastic cause. We don't want to change that. But it's kind of nice to have a little money in the foundation to do things as opportunities present. Well, the last couple of years with COVID, I think at one time, we never made it to a negative balance foundation, but close. We got pretty close a couple of times. So we're trying to build that back up. We can see opportunity to do things in our community that make a difference. Thank you.
Which reminds me, I need to find the video of Greg talking about the clay shoot and talking about come out, have fun, blow things up. It was pretty funny. I need to find that video. So to kind of tie back to the clay shoot, and this is like this, I'm going to try to stay on here, is to loop things around. So my daughter is on 23andMe. And
What is that?
so that's like a genealogy kind of thing. You send in your, basically your spit, and they process your DNA, and then you start finding all your relatives. Well, on my daughter's 23andMe, Dick Wilkinson's wife showed up as a relative. Yeah, so it turns out that Dick's wife, Ruth, is my mother-in-law's half aunt. So a couple of weeks ago, we got together, and her daughter, Elizabeth, is a good friend of mine. She went through SIPL, the parent training leadership program, with me. We've become best friends. Turns out we're like related through marriage, which was so bizarre. So, but then I had met Dick through Rotary. So it's, you know, it really is a small world. So what I wanted to talk about was, I think it was January, February, March, or I forget which. No, it's every quarter for the last 3 quarters. I attended what's called Rotary Leadership Institute, which really should be called Rotary Learning Institute. It's not as much about leadership as it's about learning about Rotary. And it was 2 Saturdays every quarter for like 3 hours in the morning. Some of the best training I have ever had. Just not just about Rotary, but around leadership and connecting with people in our district, in our state, and we actually have people outside the state who I now consider friends. So if you get the opportunity, it's been done virtually, and I told them, for me, I never would have been able to attend RLI if it wasn't virtual, because with having kids and lots of activities, I can't get there. I can't dedicate 2 days. So if you ever get the opportunity to attend RLI, do it. It's worth the time investment.
Thanks again to those of you that were able to make it out to New Perceptions. My guys always appreciate visitors, and it was good to see everybody and see what we do. And all our guys are very grateful for anything that just seeing folks and being with them. So New Perceptions is one of the entities that Rotary sponsors every now and then in a quarter. So thanks again for coming out. The golf outing this year, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. If you're a red, you're going to miss it. So don't worry about that. But the golf outing will have to be September 30th. So it'll be like the first time in some time. It's not the first Friday in October. So please make sure that that's on your calendar because they need to aerate because the 7th is a later date for the first Friday in October. So they have to take care of the course. So they're going to do aeration. So we didn't want to be out there when it was all bumpy because a lot of the guys in here are pretty competitive. And then there's Greg Palmer and Mark Willoughby. Yeah, I know. But that I wanted to make sure that we knew that that was the case. And Greg failed to tell you that, yeah, I only busted one clay that year, but he also was kind enough. Back then, Greg was growing grapes for the fine vintages that he had on the campus. So we imbibed quite a bit. Oh, was that before or after the shoot? That's it. That's all I have. Thanks.
All right. Well, that's the joke of the day. I don't have anything serious or anything, but we were talking baseball. And this is a joke I know I've laid on you guys in the past, but it's always appropriate for the love of baseball. It's about Bob and Joe, the two best friends. They grew up together from Knothole, played high school, even played college ball together. And as they got older, they attended ball games constantly. They followed their teams. They were able to go ahead and sit in their living rooms together and watch the ball games. Now they're in their 80s and they're sitting there one day and they're kind of philosophically talking about life. And they said, you know, we love baseball so much. I wonder if baseball's played in heaven. Bob says to Joe, I don't know, but whoever dies first, let's shake on it. You come back, whoever it is, and let the other one know if they play baseball in heaven. They shake. Well, wouldn't you know it, Joe dies the next week. So Bob's attending the funeral. He's leaving the graveyard. He gets home. He's sitting in his living room, and he's so sad. He hears this. Bob, Bob, Bob. What the heck is that? Is that a bird? Is that? No, it's me. It's me. Oh my gosh, you really are, you're communicating to me from afterlife. That's wonderful. He said, well, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing fine, but remember the little bet we had? And he goes, oh, that's right. That's right. We agreed that whoever went first would tell us if they play baseball. Well, do they play baseball in heaven? He said, well, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is, they play baseball every day of the year. 72 degrees, beautiful blue skies. You get to play with the best players that have ever played. Always. The grass is just cut perfect. Perfect. He goes, oh my God, you made my day. This is wonderful. Well, what could possibly be the bad news? He said, you're scheduled to pitch tomorrow.
I want to make an announcement. My name is John Schickel. I serve in the Senate. Yeah. I think I know everyone here, but if I don't, my name is John Schickel and I serve in the Senate or represent this area in the Senate. And I'm really excited because in 2 weeks, I'm going to give a report on the legislature. I'm calling it the State of the Commonwealth Address from the legislative point of view. And we're going to have some really cool pie charts that show where the money comes from and where the money goes. And
I think it's really interesting, and I think you're going to find it interesting. So I want to encourage you all to attend. And then the second thing I want to do is tell a story about my mother in honor of Mother's Day. I see at least 2 or 3 people in the room that knew my mother. And I had a wonderful mother. She's been gone 10 years, and she raised 11 of us kids. There was 11 of us, and I had she was unbelievable. I mean, she really was. You know, when people say they had a great mother, I'm sure we all did, but I had a mother that was just, I never heard her complain with 11 kids. It was just, it was just a great, great childhood. That's the only thing I can say. But I had a brother, and you don't use this word today, but I had a brother who was retarded. And he had kidney failure. And this was after I was an adult, and I was over here, and my brother was an adult too, and he had kidney failure. And my mother prayed, somebody mentioned mother's praying, and my mother would pray that my brother would get a kidney donated that would match. There was a problem getting that match. And as she got older, as I said, I was well on the way to adulthood. I was over here in my career, but she was just so worried about that and prayed constantly about it. And she was Easter Saturday, she went to choir practice. She came home from choir practice. She walked out on the back porch of the old family place and was filling a bird feeder, sat down in a chair and died very suddenly. And of course, we were all shocked because Mom was very, very healthy, we thought, and Dad was the old man who we thought was going to die. And but she died very suddenly. So we had this beautiful funeral, and several of you in the room are here. I know that. Thank you for coming. But we had this beautiful funeral. But my brother could not attend because probably 8 hours after she died, the phone rang and they found a kidney match. And he was in the hospital getting his kidney transplant. But that's the story I want to share about my mother.
Anybody else? Jordan, you got anything you'd like to share?
Racking my brain for funny stories about my children, but it's a Monday, I've been through the whole weekend.
You got 3 kids, so you got plenty of stories.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Dave Wolfer, I'll just give you a quick update on our scholarship fund. That's a great thing that we do every year. We give away scholarships. Unfortunately, the number of applicants we're getting are down a little bit. And I'm fairly certain college hasn't gotten any cheaper. So if you can help spread the word, I think that'd be a wonderful thing. Now, on the brighter side, I think we are giving away about 8 scholarships. And I think the first time we have one from the Ignite Academy, I think. So that was great that we had some meetings there and got some exposure there. And we had our first in-home schooled scholarship that we're going to give away. And we thought we'll probably limit to 1 in-home school person per year, but that was another new addition. So on the positive side, we are getting some new applicants, but as you talk to your friends that have kids that are getting ready to go to college, please remind them that we give out money every year. Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, so I have served as the club treasurer for the last, 4 years or so. And I've got a big ask today, and that is we actually just had our club secretary tell us that he can no longer serve in that capacity. So we are actually looking again for another club secretary. Carrie, who has done a fantastic job, is the president-elect, so she's no longer able to serve in that capacity. If anyone is interested, if you have a servant's heart, it is a good way to kind of raise your profile in the club. I'll be there to, kind of guide you. I know enough to be dangerous. Carrie will assist in that too. You know, you get to hang out with me. Maybe I should have told you that. But you know, again, this is an important role for the club. It's something we're in need of. We thought we had a solution, and you know, Casey had to basically back out because he's got some heavy workload things going on. So if anybody just has even the remote calling to help out in this way, it would mean a lot to us. So thank you.
I'd like to nominate Pat Moynihan to be our club secretary. All those in favor say aye.
Pat, we really appreciate you stepping up. We just like to say thank you on behalf of the club.
Glad to do it.
He said, glad to do it. Well, good. Thank you, Pat.
He also said it's the last time he's going to be on Zoom.
And you were saying that's the last time you're going to be on Zoom, right?
That's right.
Guys, we're all up for next week open mic night. Everybody did a great job. I congratulate everybody. I'd like to close with kind of final thoughts, kind of motivational. And unfortunately, the meetings have been running so long that I haven't been able to do this. Paul Doherty, to me, is a brilliant sports writer. And he wrote a great column a couple weeks ago about Ukraine. And he writes, there are no jock heroes unless you're the former heavyweight boxer, a name I can't pronounce. He's the mayor of Kyiv. And at this moment, he's very likely in the middle of downtown hell with a rifle in his hands. A hero? Yes. The heroes in Ukraine are everywhere. And 18-year-old boys who 6 days ago found themselves part of a war. The little ones using the subway station as bomb shelters, and everyone in between. Heroes, yes. We don't know courage, not today. It's certainly not coming back from a major knee surgery. On other days, we recognize dedication and sacrifice in our athletes. They don't meet the definition today. Tragedy is not blowing a late lead in a basketball game. I watched in awe with these people, these ordinary Ukrainians, as they stoically go about their business. Everything has changed for them, except possibly their essence. Living at the crossroads of a continent comes with a price, and that price seems to demand a sort of pragmatic resilience few of us have ever had to understand. So they fill their suitcases and march on a train and take them to Poland or to Romania. They say goodbye to sons and husbands and fathers, knowing it could be for the last time. Those who stay are handed rifles. They jam rags into bottles filled with gasoline. Grandmothers take up arms. They stay indoors, draw the curtains, and wait for the Russians to come. We are fortunate not to know this sort of courage and any of this that it requires. The rest of the world, moved by Ukrainian resolve, have rallied quickly. NATO is all in. Imagine where we weren't if they weren't. The fight has sparked an invigorating purpose within the free world in a way that we haven't experienced for 70 years. For an instant, we stopped taking our freedom for granted. I can't describe the feeling of watching Ukraine blow up and its citizens stand up to it. Excuse me. If you and I feel helpless watching TV, what must those inside Ukraine feel? All of us could use a little Ukrainian today. Dedication, courage, resolve, and gratitude. Guys, thanks for a great meeting and look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.